What is the secret to enduring happiness? This question echoes in our minds, resonating with a universal human pursuit, that of happiness. Picture a disciple, a man who seemingly has it all: wealth, respect, knowledge. Yet there exists a void within him, a nagging emptiness that eludes fulfillment. Desperate to fill this emptiness, he turns to the only person he believes holds the answer: the venerable Zen master. The Zen master, perceiving the disciple's inner turmoil, proposes an unusual task. "Fetch me a coconut," he commands, "from the highest branch of the tallest tree in the forest." The disciple is taken aback. What could a coconut possibly have to do with his quest for happiness? Nevertheless, he accepts the task, convinced of the Zen master's wisdom. As the disciple embarks on this seemingly simple task, he soon discovers it's anything but. And so begins a journey of self-discovery, a journey into the heart of happiness. The task seemed simple, but the disciple soon found out it was anything but. The disciple started his quest, his heart full of hope and determination. With his eyes set on the top of the lofty tree, he began his ascent with a determined spirit. But the journey was not easy. The tree was tall, its bark rough and unyielding. His hands, unaccustomed to such labor, soon bore the brunt of his struggle. He slipped, he fell, his knees kissed the earth, and his skin was marked with the tale of his endeavors. Yet each time he fell, he rose, dusted off the dirt, and tried again. His persistence took a new shape as he began to explore different strategies. He tried to shake the tree, hoping to make the coconut fall, but the tree stood firm, its roots deeply entrenched in the earth. He then picked up stones, aiming them at the coconut with all his might. But the fruit of the tree was stubborn, refusing to descend from its high perch. His efforts seemed futile, his attempts in vain. His initial hope started to wane, replaced by a growing frustration. His heart filled with doubt, he began to question the wisdom of the Zen master. He asked himself, "Is the master leading me on a wild goose chase? Is there any merit in this seemingly impossible task?" He felt a storm brewing within him, a tempest of doubt and despair threatening to engulf his spirit. His trust in the Zen master's guidance, once steadfast, now wavered. The disciple, now bruised and battered, not just physically but also emotionally, decided to confront the Zen master. He approached him, his face a mirror of his inner turmoil. His voice echoed his frustration as he questioned, "Why have you set me on this path? What is the purpose of this task that seems so impossible to accomplish?" His eyes, now filled with a mix of frustration and desperation, sought answers. In his frustration, the disciple confronts the Zen master, demanding an explanation for this seemingly impossible task. The Zen master, with his inscrutable calm, looked at his disciple, ready to reveal the next chapter of this journey. The Zen master calmly looks at the disciple and asks, "Why do you want the coconut?" The disciple, slightly taken aback, responds, "I want the coconut because you asked for it, master." A silence ensues as the Zen master gently smiles and says, "The coconut, my dear disciple, is but a metaphor for happiness." Confusion paints the disciple's face as the master continues, "You've been exerting all your effort to obtain the coconut simply because I told you to. Not because you desired it or saw value in it, but because you believed it was something you needed to acquire." The master's words hang in the air like a mist of wisdom, gradually settling over the disciple's understanding. Happiness, the master elaborates, is not a destination to be reached, a place where all struggles cease and only bliss remains. It is not an endpoint of a journey, but the journey itself. A glimmer of realization begins to dawn on the disciple's face. He had been chasing after the coconut, his symbolic happiness, with such fervor that he'd forgotten to enjoy the journey. He'd forgotten to savor the climb, the feel of the tree bark under his hands, the rustling of leaves in the wind, the simple joy of being alive and capable. He had been seeking happiness in the wrong places, in external validations and achievements, rather than within himself. The Zen master, seeing the change in his disciple, concludes, "Happiness is not about having everything, it's about finding joy in everything you have. The coconut is not the end goal, it's the climb, the effort, the experience, the journey. That is where true happiness lies." And so the disciple learned that happiness is not about having everything, but finding joy in everything you have. A powerful lesson, taught through the simple act of climbing a tree for a coconut.